Hey guys, Youngblood with you to cover the Q&A post from CIG regarding the Crusader Mercury Star Runner ship, which is the one that's on sale right now, and is the ship that's kind of a combination of a cargo ship, a data runner, and supposedly a smuggler. So let's go ahead and start with the questions that we get on all of these, which is the category I like to call the this versus that. And when asked if the Mercury can outperform the Terrapin equally or better at the scanning type of gameplay, CIG said that with the Terrapin being a dedicated scanning ship, it's going to end up being the better scanning ship, and that methodologies would typically apply across the board, with dedicated ships almost always performing better than multi-role ships in their designed field. Now, the other thing to note here is that the Mercury is more designed to collect local communication traffic, and that's about it. While the Terrapin is able to look longer range, focus on certain areas, pick up more than just communications, and identify lower signatures. Now, when looking at speed and other ships in the size range, the Mercury has lighter armor and less weapons, so the community was asking if it should be faster than ships like the Cutlass, and why it's not much faster than the Freelancer. Well, we got the standard answer that things can change, but the general rule is that as ships get bigger, they get slower. So based on it being between the Lancer and the Cutlass, the speed is going to fall in between those as well, even though that may end up being adjusted later. Now, I'm not really a fan of that model because, one, it's kind of watered down, and two, a bigger ship that has more larger engines should still have the ability to be faster than a smaller ship. It just comes down to mass and output and all that kind of stuff. So that's something I hope we see change over time. Then we start looking at questions like data running, and it was mentioned that the Herald is going to have an electronic warfare utility suite, and it was asked if the Mercury would be able to get that too, to which we hear that it's not part of the ship's roadmap at this time, and that's really more for ships like the Herald and the Sentinel. Now, they did clarify, not in any detail though, that the electronic warfare package is not a requirement for hacking data and ships. So I think it's worth pointing out here that there's some differences between data stealing and electronic warfare. And we haven't seen much on eWar in a while, but that being said, there was a design post years back detailing what they had in mind. Hacking should be something that can be accomplished with good computers on board and skilled players, assuming you have the appropriate communication equipment on your ship. It's really about getting in, hopefully undetected, and getting the data you want to get and then run. Additionally, you could potentially get access to ship systems through hacking and maybe cause some issues. Now, when you start talking about more of like electronic warfare, that crosses into more aggressive options like data spike missiles that can be launched and connect to the enemy ship to gain control and wreak havoc, plus other things like spoofing radar signatures to make it seem like there's a lot of other ships around, or potentially blocking and jamming everything that's in the area so they don't have any idea what's actually happening. Now, I think the two kind of gameplays run side by side in a way, but they aren't exactly the same thing. I think the Mercury is really going to fall more in the data theft category than the more electronic, aggressive style warfare. Now, as we exit the ship v ship category, we get down to specifics about the Mercury, like if we can expect it to be fast-tracked to help get the Crusader design style in place, and we hear that the roadmap's going to be updated soon with that information, but the Mercury and the Star Lifter designs have already been completed, and as they get built out, they're going to be used to help design the Genesis. Now, they asked if this should fit through small jump points, and CIG said that the sizing on those is still being worked out, but they expect it to match the Freelancer. And I'm personally still expecting the Freelancer to be the largest ship that can use the small jump points, so I think that's going to be the same for the Freelancer and the Mercury. They also confirmed that the rear ramp is the only entrance to the ship, and that it lacks any other access points anywhere else, like a ladder or a lift. In regards to crew sizes and ship design, it was pointed out that there are 3 beds, and it is listed as a crew of 3. However, there's 2 turrets, so that's really 4 crew. CIG said that that was an intentional design decision where they actually think that there's 5 roles on board, with a pilot, a co-pilot, a scanner, and then turret 1, turret 2. But you can use the crew how you see fit. You know, some people could sleep while someone flies. Maybe you don't need a scanning station for your mission, or maybe you don't need the co-pilot because you have a proficient pilot. The point is that the ship is designed to give you some bed flexibility, but it's not going to really let you fly with a full contingent of 5, have them all log out at the same time, which is why they really have it listed as a crew of 3. CIG confirmed that there's no planned modules for this ship, and they wanted it to be designed to be versatile in the roles of cargo and data, but not necessarily cross into other professions based on variants. They also went on to say that there is a bathroom, a kitchen, and a dining area. They also have weapon racks on board that all get shared across the crew. But there is a personal locker for EVA suits near the bunks for every crew member. But I read that as 3 lockers, not the 5 that we just talked about. We also find out that there's no airlock present on this ship's exit in the cargo area. So if you do end up needing to EVA, everyone in that section of the ship better have a suit on, since it's going to decompress the entire cargo area when the rear door is opened. The last thing that was brought up was more about gameplay, specifically what would be considered legal data collection. CIG says that legal data collection would be missions like PvE stuff for scanning for specific information like asteroid composition or density, which to me sounds more like a crossover into mining and exploration gameplay. Another example would be taking a mission to find the locations of players, though if you're hacking to get that, that feels like it might be illegal to me. Illegal stuff would be more in the category of like stealing information that's been communicated between 2 ships, using that for your gain. Now, all of that feels a little bit vague to me, so my guess right now is that the gameplay hasn't been fully established at this point, so they're probably only sharing some rough ideas. I'm actually hoping we get a second Q&A on this ship, considering these weren't exactly hard-hitting questions and answers, and I think there's still a lot that could be answered about this ship. Either way, the ship's still cool. I'm glad I moved some of my ships around to get one in my fleet. If you guys have questions on any of this, please let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for a lot more coming soon. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.